Hello, Dr. Joe here. So I got a telephone call from an old friend. James is his name, not his real name. I'm not going to use his real name in this very video. Because he knows that I am into lifestyle medicine and he's suspecting that he may be having food intolerance. So he had a chat with me, wondering what he should do because he was at a time considering submitting himself to some sort of laboratory investigation. That is to say, send his hair sample or blood sample to some lab that is a distance away by mail to confirm this food intolerance. He asked for my opinion, and I told him no, he shouldn't do that because I've got an alternative method for him that is quite reliable and it is free. And what is this method? Well, it is a DIY food intolerance home test. It is an at-home food intolerance test. Like I said, it is free and it's quite reliable. The results are reproducible. So what is not to like? And this is what I preferred for him. So what is this DIY food intolerance test that I've got in mind? Well, I'm going to share it with you in a minute. But before we do though, I just want to make a distinction between food allergy and food intolerance. So, what is food allergy? Well, in food allergy, the symptoms that you experience when you consume certain foods are a lot more serious. You will have swelling of the lips, swelling of the tongue, swelling of the throat, back of the throat, such that you may have difficulty with breathing. So that could be life-threatening, and that is a lot more serious compared to food intolerance, where we may experience symptoms like bloating, abdominal cramps, diarrhea. You may have skin manifestations like eczema. You may also have knee pain, okay? Pain in your knees when you consume certain foods. What else you may experience? Well, you may also experience migraine as a symptom. Certain foods will trigger headaches, terrible headaches in the form of migraines. So those symptoms represent food intolerance and they are distinguishable from food allergy. I just want us to make that distinction before we continue. So now let's move on to the DIY method of food intolerance home test. What is it? Well, it's a method that has what we call the 3 R's. R for Romeo, okay? 3 R's. And these 3 R's, they constitute the 3 steps involved. What are they? So in step 1, the first R, it is a recording method, okay? You record. So what are you recording? Well, you're recording all the foods that you're going to eat over a 4-week period. So you're going to record the foods and then the symptoms that you experience when you consume those foods. And you got to do it over 4 weeks, by the way. Don't do it over a week or 2 weeks. Because essentially, you are going to be a food detective. And as a detective, if you're solving a crime, you want to do it well. You want to get the best results. So you got to do it over a 4-week period. So what are you recording? Well, you're going to record the foods, the symptoms that you experience. And what we're looking for a pattern. Okay, we're looking for a pattern. We're also looking for an association between the foods that you eat and certain symptoms that you experience. So we want that. And we're also looking for recurrence, by the way, recurrence of symptoms. Now, once we have a pattern recognition, we have to move on to the next step, which is step 2. But before we go to step 2, I also want to point out how you do this method. How do you go about it? Well, a good old pen and paper would be ideal, okay? You take a pen and paper and you record the foods and the symptoms, the usual old way of doing things. So that is the best approach. Now, you can also go digital and use a notes app on your phone or on your laptop. That's also fine. What you mustn't do is make a mental note of what is going on. A mental note will not work, okay? We've got to do it and do it well. So once we have a pattern recognition, we have identified a food that we are suspecting may be causing problems for us, we move on to step 2. What is step 2? Well, step 2, that's the second R, that is restriction. We got to restrict the food. That is to say, we have to eliminate the food from the diet. We got to remove the food from the diet because essentially this is an elimination diet. That's what we're doing. So we eliminate the food, restrict it, and then see if our symptoms improve. If our symptoms improve, we know we are on the right track, okay? And that constitutes step 2, restriction. After that, we move on to step 3. What's in step 3? Well, that is reintroduction. So we have to reintroduce the offending food gradually into our diet, and then we'll see if our symptoms recur. If our symptoms return or recur, then bingo, we know that we've hit the nail on the head, okay? So as an example, let's say we think tomatoes may be causing us a problem. So we're going to do the recording. And then once we suspect tomatoes to be a food that is giving us some sort of intolerance, we move on to step 2, which is restriction. We take the tomatoes out. And if our symptoms improve, we know we're on the right track. Then we will then move on to step 3, which is reintroduce the tomatoes back into our diet. And then if our symptoms return, bingo, we know we have hit the nail on the head, okay? So that's essentially how the DIY at-home method of food intolerance test actually works. And it's very reliable, it is free. What's not to like as far as I'm concerned? Besides, some of the lab tests, the results, they are not reproducible. So they're not really the things that I would recommend, okay? And of course, they're going to cost you a bit of money. Here's the thing you should know. Your body is the best laboratory out there when it comes to food intolerance. And you should use it, okay? You should use it. So remember the 3 R's. We record, and then we restrict, and then we reintroduce. That's essentially how it works. So let me know if you're somebody who's got some sort of food intolerance. If you do, please do let me know in the comment section. And if you've used this method, also do let me know in the comment section as well. So I'm hoping that you got some value from this very video. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Please like the video, and also please share this video with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues. If you got any questions, any comments regarding the content of this video presentation, go ahead, leave your comments or questions down below. I think that's it for this very video. Until next time, well, this is Dr. Joe signing out.